this is the only time in the whole cycle where we have the opportunity to change from impure to pure, because this is the only time in the whole cycle when the ocean of purity is playing the role of my father, teacher and Satguru practically, and restoring us to purity. And Baba also cautions that if we miss this time, if we waste this time, then we will repent it a lot. So this is the time to become pure. Now, you see that we have the knowledge that in Satyug and Treta Yuga, we souls are pure. Yes. And when we are pure, how do we operate? We don't operate outside in, we operate inside out. So the soul doesn't seek love, the soul doesn't seek bliss, the soul doesn't seek happiness, doesn't seek peace, doesn't seek power. So in the state of purity or truth or fullness, I, the soul, operate inside out. I am full, and I, from that full stage, I use my sense organs and physical organs and subtle organs. So there are sense organs, the 5 organs of the body: ears, eyes, mouth and skin. So there's the hearing, the seeing, the touching, the tasting and the smell. So these are the 5 sense organs. Then there is the mind, buddhi and sanskar, which is the subtle organ. And then there are physical organs, hand, feet, the other systems of the body. And all these systems of the body or the senses or the man, buddhi, sanskar, they were all being used by the soul in a righteous manner. So in Satyug, there is no abuse of the organs or the physical organs or the sense organs. So, but from the copper age, the soul became, depleted. And when the soul got depleted, then the soul started abusing the body to feel what you wanted to feel inside, because there was emptiness inside. And the soul was not naturally peaceful, loveful, joyful. So you wanted to experience all that peace, that love, that pure, that joy, that bliss, that power through your senses, through your relationships, through objects, through attainments. And this is how our relationship with the body, with the subtle organs, with the world of matter, it started being very abusive. So right now we have a very abusive and vicious relationship with all the organs of the body or the subtle organs of the soul, or you look at the world in general, because we are basically using everything around us, starting from the body, to feel what it feels like to when you are a full soul. So do you get this point, that in the beginning when you're pure, then your body and everything around the body is not abused. It is used in the right way. But then you start abusing everything to feel good on the inside, because there is no feeling of fulfillment inside. You see, people engage in lust and they gratify their senses and they say that this is how I felt bliss. But that's not how you feel bliss. That's how you started feeling a glimpse of, what bliss would be like. It's like a glimpse of an improper substitute of bliss, because the natural quality of the soul, to be blissful was lost. Or, we eat something or we buy something and then we say, it made me happy. And that's why we are becoming such big consumers, buying everything and anything available and not caring whether it's of use also. Because buying and spending gives us happiness. And that is the happiness of an impure soul. So it's a temporary pleasure that you get, which is an improper substitute of pure joy that the soul was capable of feeling. So this is how you see, when we deplete in the course of time, we start abusing our physical organs, eating more than necessary, engaging in lustful activities, or these days you see the abuse is going to newer heights. And what is the abuse? So abusing the tongue to taste drugs and abusing everything else. You see, people are sniffing and tasting and whatnot. And all of that is also, abusing the brain to create more chemicals. And these days, there are prescribed drugs which you call as medicine. And then you are abusing your brain to produce more chemicals so that you can feel something. So these are the kind of abuses we start engaging in and continue engaging in, because the soul is not full. So when the soul is full, the soul is pure. So what is the symbol of purity? The symbol of purity is the lotus flower. So which lives in water or lives in muddy water but stays detached from it. So when we are pure as souls, we live in this world, but we are not attached to anything of this world, because anything of this world is not a source of my inner fulfillment. It is an expression of me. My operating in this world is an expression of me. It's not happening outside in, it's happening inside out. So when I am full, I am not dependent or attached or in fear of loss of anything in this impure world, because that's not the source of my inner joy or my inner peace or my inner fulfillment. So that is the state when we are pure and there is no attachment, there is complete detachment with the body, with the relationships, everything, because they are not the source of fulfilling your need inside. But from the copper age onwards, when you start abusing the body, abusing the relationships, abusing wealth, abusing everything to create a sense of gratification inside, when you start doing that, then we come into bondage. And what is a bondage? Because you see, we are dependent on everything outside to feel okay inside. And that becomes like a bondage, because until and unless everything is okay outside, I cannot feel the way I feel. And then you are in bondage and also abusive. So this is a very difficult scenario that we have been in for the past 63 births. And then there is attachment, there is fear, there is abuse, there is use of force, there is everything going on around, and there is exploitation, there is violation, there is no mutual respect, because whenever something is a source of your inner gratification, then it ought to behave the way you want it to behave. And if it doesn't behave that way, then you start coming into this place of fear, and then you start using force, and then you start being very exploitative. So this is the way we have been with relationships, and we have been with the body for so much time. And Baba now tells us that this is the only opportunity that we souls have, this Sangam Yugi time, when the ocean of purity is my father, teacher and Satguru, and the ocean of purity is teaching us the method to be pure and giving me the power to be pure. This is the only time when I can change from impure to pure. Yes, so Baba tells us to make the most of this time. And how do we shift from this state of impurity to a state of purity? So Baba tells us that again you have to go from empty to full. And how do you do that? So Baba tells us that by remembering Baba, by remembering the soul world, and by remembering heaven, all the three are pure. So Baba is the ocean of purity, our home, the soul world is pure, and the new world that's coming is pure. So Baba says, when you keep remembering these three and you keep rotating your Swadershan chakra inside your intellect, so when you keep rotating or spinning the Swadershan chakra with your buddhi, then the Swadershan chakra also keeps reminding you of your pure states. So you keep remembering your pure states of being by spinning the Swadershan chakra, and in this way you are able to slowly, gradually go back to purity. But the thing is, you see, Baba or the soul world or the new world, they are on the subtle realm. They are not here in the physical world. So until and unless we withdraw our buddhi, we unplug our buddhi from this physical world, and we unplug our buddhi from these organs and sense organs and body and relationships and whatever we are doing until now. So the way we are using our time and thought in bondage is very different from how we use it when we are in good relationships. But because we are in bondage right now, all our energies, all our time, all our thought is spent in the old world, because we are like addicts, taking small doses of love and peace and happiness from here and there all day. But when we start understanding that this is the time to become pure, and then for 21 births we will not behave like addicts of our bodies and relationships, then what we do is we unplug our attention, we remove our investment of time and thought from this old world, and we start doing what Baba says. But it takes concerted effort, because you cannot be remembering the old world and Baba at the same time. So you have to withdraw your attention from the old world, from this body and the world of matter and relationships. But how do you do that? If you have very good understanding that this is not how I can continue, and this time of living this kind of a life and existence is coming to an end, and now I have to, and you have this deep, understanding and conviction that I want to be pure, then you start removing your intellect from this physical body and physical world, and then you start taking it to Baba and sitting in Baba's remembrance and filling yourself. And once you start doing that, what you realize is that um, Baba is, so, just this remembrance. And when you remember Baba, when you remember your home, when you remember the new world, just this remembrance is enough to shift you from a state of emptiness to a state of fullness. And then when you start shifting in this way, but it is very this process, this process of finishing your vikarma and then filling yourself with Baba's love and light, this is a very subtle and slow process. And in this process, you see, for a long time, we are somewhere in the middle. So we are not spiritually full, and then we have to also not take the support of our body and physical senses and the relationships and the old world for pleasure. So until and unless we take this decision that I have to keep nurturing myself spiritually and not take the support of these physical senses and physical body and physical world to feel full inside, you cannot do it, because you see, it's your sanskar to take everything that you need spiritually from the physical world, and you have grown a lot of dependency in this sanskar, and the dependency is so much that you are almost in a state of bondage. And you see, just like a slave, he loses all his swaman, his self-respect, that I can actually fend for myself. And he always thinks that, my life is that of a slave. I cannot fend for myself. Similarly, the soul has also lost all its respect, all its self-respect, and the soul has forgotten completely that I am in a position to, not take sustenance and not take the juices from this physical world. And in this state, it requires a lot of determination that I will not use my physical senses and I will not use the relationships of the body and I will not use the physical senses of other bodies to derive pleasure. And then slowly, gradually, when you move with this determination and you pay very good attention to following Baba's Srimat and remembering Baba and the soul world and the new world, gradually that strength that Baba gives you and the restoration work that happens inside, it restores you again to that place of purity. And when you become pure again, then the sign is that you will not like any impure activity that you liked earlier. So Baba gives the example that previously when somebody touched you in a vicious way, you liked it. In fact, you wanted it also, because it was because there was emptiness inside and the soul was vicious. And when the soul is vicious, you like everything vicious and impure outside. So previously, the soul liked the impure touch or the vicious touch because there was vice inside. But when there is purity inside, then you will not like anything impure outside. Anything that is impure outside you will have distaste for it. You will naturally develop this distaste for impure touch, impure food, impure conversation, impure interactions, impure engagements, you will naturally have distaste for all the impurity in the world. And let me give you an example to substantiate this. You see, somebody who is a drug addict likes drugs very much, and they feel that if there is a bag of some drugs, then they will not throw it away. They feel that this is very valuable, and they will keep it and they will value it. But somebody who is not an addict will throw that packet away, and they will just not like it, because that's not something that they are addicted to. Similarly, you see, when we are addicts of vices, so this lust, anger, ego, attachment, greed are also addicts, are also addictions, because we do it for a long time. We create that sanskar of being addicted to these vices. So when we start becoming pure and there is no vice inside, then you don't like the vices in the world, and you don't like anything that is associated with those vices, the drishti that's associated with that vice, or the touch, or the interactions, or the conversations that are associated with those vices. So you don't like vicious words, you don't like dirty language, you don't like dirty conversations, you don't like dirty touch, you don't like dirty vibrations. Wherever there is a vibration of lust around you, you will start hating it. So that is the sign that you are in purity, because when somebody is impure, they like the vibration and the touch and other stuff. You see, people say that in a relationship they would like it to be very lustful, and they would like their partner to be an angry person, and they like that anger as a sign of personality. I've even heard people say that. Why? Because there is anger within you, there is lust within you, so that's what you like. But when you clean yourself from within, then the expression that you will use for this world is, it is a dirty world. And right now, you see, when you hear in the Murli today, Baba tells us so many times that this is a dirty world. And when Baba tells us repeatedly, somewhere it pinches the intellect. Why is Baba calling it dirty, 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 dirty? But the thing is, why don't we find the world so dirty? Jabki if you check, you will feel that there is not any trace in this world, nothing in the terms of thought, attitude, feeling, actions. Everything in this world is full of lust, anger, ego, attachment, greed. But why don't we feel that this? So you see, even when two people are seeing each other, there's an undertone of lust. Everybody is looking at everybody's bodies, and this is such a dirty world. But why don't you realize it is dirty? And why does Baba realize it is a very dirty world? Because Baba is completely pure, and that's why he is able to feel the dirt that's in this world. But since we are ourselves impure, we are not able to feel the dirt in this world. Just like you see, you put black ink on a black t-shirt, you can't see it, but you put black ink on a white t-shirt, it's very visible. So Baba is the white t-shirt, and we are not black anyway, but somewhere in between, so we are gray or something. So we can feel that the world is dirty, but we don't sometimes feel the world is dirty to that magnitude as Baba feels it, because there's dirt inside. And Baba tells us that now with the knowledge that I'm giving you, so when you have this trust and faith, this nishchay that it is God, Shiv Baba, who is teaching us, and Baba is the ocean of knowledge, and Baba is truth. So he never says anything wrong or false. So when you have this faith and you start understanding that it's a dirty world, and the world to which we are going is a pure world, a pure world where there'll be no dirt, there'll be no bondage, and the soul will operate inside out. The soul will be a sovereign, a self sovereign, and a world sovereign. And when you start understanding what is the state of the world now and what Baba is making for you, then you start putting this effort, because it requires effort. So you start putting this effort to detach completely from the physical organs and the world around you and the dirty relationships and everything. And you, with understanding, with the light of knowledge, you start detaching from everything here, and then you start filling yourself, taking out time and using your thought, using your inner faculties, your mind and intellect, to take power from Baba and change from an impure soul to a pure soul. And when you start understanding this very well, then your chart of remembrance will start improving, because then you start understanding who is here and what is he making me and what am I going to become. And that ensures that you change from impurity to purity. So this is one thing that Baba tells us. And then today Baba tells us that we should never be afraid. We should be fearless. And Baba says that if you are doing my seva, if you are being pure and making pure, if you are teaching everybody the truth and you are living your life in purity and doing what Baba is telling you, then never be afraid that you will sleep hungry. And Baba says, I will always provide you with food. And you see, you shouldn't be afraid of anything. You shouldn't be afraid of defamation. You shouldn't be afraid of death. You shouldn't be afraid of hunger. You shouldn't be afraid of anything. You shouldn't be afraid when you live by the truth that Baba is telling you, and when you live your life in Baba's seva, the seva that Baba has given you to do. And this is a very important thing that Baba tells us. And I'll tell you one story that Baba always shares. Today Baba has not shared, but Baba shares this story mostly, that there was a king and he had 5 daughters, and he would always ask his daughters, who feeds you, who takes care of you? And then 4 daughters out of the 5 would always tell the father that you are the one who feeds us, provides for us and takes care of us. And the 5th daughter, she was a little different, and she would always say that I am fed by my destiny. So my fortune feeds me, not you. And the king, who was very body conscious and egoistic, he got very angry when he continuously heard this from the younger, and the 5th daughter was the youngest. And then what he did is he said, okay, if you are claiming that I don't feed you and your taking care has got nothing to do with me, then I will get you married to the first person who comes on the palace's door tomorrow. And so she said, okay, if my destiny is there with me, I have nothing to fear. And then the next day, there was a beggar who came early in the morning. And the king, in his anger and his ego, he got that girl married to that beggar. And so she was happy. She did not question her destiny. And then after a few days, the daughter, the princess, she figured out that this boy who his father got her married to was actually a prince in disguise who had come to visit this kingdom of her father. And so she was anyways married to a prince, and she lived her life peacefully and happily. So Baba gives this story as an example that you should never be afraid of anything. You should never be afraid of telling the truth. Now you see, the truth is that the daughter is always fed by by her own destiny, not by the father. But if somebody is scaring you and intimidating you, then why do you have to shy away from saying the truth? And I will give you a similar example that happened in front of my eyes some days back. And there was this Kanya, and she was being with Baba, and she was coming for Murli, and she was practicing her practice. And then her father, he one day he just pushed that Kanya, and he said, "You're not allowed to leave home and go to the center." And then she said, "But why? I'm not doing anything wrong." Then he said, "No, I don't like it, so you can't go." And then the father said, "If you do this next time, you will see what I'm capable of. And I can go to any lengths." And he just threatened her badly. And then this Kanya, she didn't tell me anything. She took her own decision, and she did not shy away from saying the truth or walking on the true path. So the next day again she started getting ready and coming to the center. And then her father stopped her, and then she said, "You cannot stop me, and I'm not doing anything wrong, and I will not step back because you don't like it." Then the father said that, I can shut you down behind doors, and I can, chain you, and I can do many things, and you're my daughter, and you cannot do anything without my permission. Then the daughter said, "If you do that to me, I will take the help of the authorities, and I will report it to the authorities." And then the father got very scared and he did not pose an obstacle in front of her, and then she kept coming. And after many days, she told me this thing. And then she said that I was not afraid because I'm full of the power of truth, and I'm not doing anything wrong. So why should I be afraid? And Didi, if father throws me out of the house also, no problem. I will look for a job, and I will fend for myself, and then walk on Baba's path. And it was so beautiful to see that. And Baba tells us that Baba, in fact, in the Murli says this exact thing today, that you must never be afraid, and nobody can stop you from walking on the path that is true. So whatever Baba tells us is the truth, and whatever actions Baba teaches us, whether it is food, whether it is lifestyle, whether it is words, they are all true. Baba in Hindi Murli always says, "Sach khana, sach pehenna, sach rehna, sach karna." Not just such janna, but living by the truth. Our very nature is purity, and nobody can stop me from adopting a pure lifestyle or living with the values of purity. So Baba tells us that if there is any objection, then you can always approach the local authorities, you can approach the authorities, higher authorities also. And when you really put forth your point with this much of conviction and this much of purity and this much of the power of truth in you, then they will always be on your side. And Baba tells us that you should never be afraid and never think that this person provides for me, or I am a slave because somebody feeds me or somebody gives me something. Baba says that every soul is capable of providing for themselves, and nobody should threaten you that I won't give you lunch if you don't follow my orders. So this is something. And then Baba also tells us, what does the soul need? Very little food. You can eat your chapati with banana and curd also. So Baba says you don't need too much to eat. So these are the teachings that Baba gives us, to be pure and to be fearless. And Baba gives us a warning also today, that do not throw away your fortune because of being careless or because of not paying attention. So this is the only time to create a fortune, and just because of your vicious sanskar and your sanskar of carelessness, will you throw away your 21 births of fortune? You cannot do that. So just have a determined thought and do what it takes. It takes courage, it takes determination to change from impure to pure, but do that thing for yourself. And Baba says, at least have mercy on yourself, so that you don't tomorrow repent that I could have become a king and what have I become today. Okay, Om Shanti.